This is the Future of Automotive with Steve Greenfield.
Well, welcome back to the latest episode of the Future of Automotive on CBT News, where we put recent automotive and mobility news into the context of the broader themes impacting the industry. I'm Steve Greenfield from Automotive Ventures, and I'm really glad that you could join us. Last week, there was a thought-provoking article in the Wall Street Journal regarding electric vehicles and planned obsolescence. I think a lot about what happens to EVs at the end of the factory warranty for the battery, and if at some point repair costs become so great that it's just easier for a used EV owner to scrap them and buy a new one, similar to how consumers look at consumer electronic goods like iPhones. Back in 1976, when cars on American roads were just 6.2 years old on average, new car sales accounted for nearly 10% of all car registrations. Fast forward to 2019, the average car age had doubled, and more consumers were able to hold onto their cars longer or opt for used ones. By then, the share of new vehicle sales had fallen to only 6.4% of registrations. The Wall Street Journal article asks, could electric vehicles bring back those glory days of brisk sales and rapid obsolescence, where consumers were replacing their vehicles more frequently? In some ways, EVs resemble cell phones. Technology on them keeps improving rapidly, and they are powered by batteries that degrade over time and depreciate quickly. As EVs become a larger proportion of the fleet, they could once again rev up dealers' businesses through not only faster replacement cycles, but also more frequent repairs. While EVs have fewer mechanical parts, a recent study from J.D. Power showed that owners of battery EVs and plug-in hybrids took their new vehicles to the dealership for repairs at a rate that's 3 times greater than gas-powered vehicle owners did. One reason to think EVs could accelerate replacement cycles: EV technology is improving a lot more quickly than technology for gasoline-fueled cars, which have been getting optimized for at least a century. The incremental improvement you see each year on ICE vehicles is relatively small. But when you look at the incremental improvement on EV technology, it's evolving much more quickly, especially in battery range. The medium range on electric vehicles was 270 miles for the 2023 model year, up 27% from 5 years ago, according to the US Department of Energy. The improvement is even more remarkable on high-end EVs. Back in 2018, the longest-lasting battery could hold 335 miles of charge. Last year, the highest battery range hit 516 miles. Like iPhone and iPad makers, EV manufacturers are able to do a lot of updates over the air. But these have limits when the physical components can't keep up with the newest updates. Expensive repairs are another reason EVs might get cycled out faster. They require more mechanical labor hours, specialized parts, and specialized technician skill and tools to work on them. EVs also have been depreciating at a faster rate than gas cars, which gives owners even more reason to opt for replacement rather than repair. An EV bought brand new at the beginning of 2022 went for about half the MSRP after about 2 years and 1 month of ownership, according to data from KBB in Mannheim. In comparison, ICE cars, internal combustion engine vehicles, and hybrids retained about 66% and 73% of their MSRPs respectively after that same period. The same math applies to EVs that get into collisions. They are more likely to be declared total losses and sent to the scrapyard than fixed. In the first quarter, total loss frequency for EVs up to 3 years of age exceeded that of gas cars, according to data from Mitchell. Finally, battery degradation is another issue. Federal law requires automakers to give warranties on EV batteries for at least 8 years or 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. About 13% of EVs outside that warranty window for 2015 model years or older reported battery replacements, according to Recurrent, a provider of battery monitoring tools for EVs. In many cases, a replacement might cost more than buying a used EV. Recurrent notes, though, that most EVs have been on the road well under 6 years, making it difficult to form judgments. Predictive modeling from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory suggests that EV batteries should last 12 to 15 years under moderate climates, but time will tell. The rapid advancement of technology in new generations of EVs, as well as the higher repair costs and depreciation, is sure to continue to create some uncertainty in the minds of consumers who are choosing between the ICE vehicles they know and are used to and taking a gamble on embracing an EV for their next new vehicle purchase. While EVs were supposed to pose a huge threat to franchise dealerships' fixed operations, it just doesn't seem to be the way that things are playing out. In fact, surprisingly, EVs may end up being a greater economic opportunity than ICE vehicles. Wouldn't that be something? So with that, let's transition to our companies to watch. Every week we highlight interesting companies in the automotive technology space to keep an eye on. If you read my weekly Intel report, we showcase a company to watch and take the opportunity here on this segment each week to share that company with you. Today, our new company to watch is called Northbound. Northbound helps shippers reduce their demurrage and detention costs in real time. Demurrage and detention costs are fees that shipping companies charge when containers are kept at a port, terminal, or other location longer than the agreed upon free time frame. The purpose of these fees is to encourage the efficient use of containers and prompt retrieval of cargo. Demurrage charges are assessed on laden containers inside a port beyond the demurrage-free days. In contrast, detention charges come into play after an importer has picked up and unpacked a shipment. Detention charges are assessed on containers outside a port. Northbound helps inbound teams reduce their D&D costs through live cost transparency, optimized planning, and automated invoice verification. Typically, importers struggle with their demurrage and detention costs due to a lack of transparency. Demurrage and detention costs remain hidden until the invoice arrives. Due to the inability to act, without a real-time overview, D&D costs cannot be avoided through active control. And due to uncontrolled payments, without historical container data, it is practically impossible to check D&D invoices accurately. Northbound, on the other hand, enables importers to track real-time container milestones without integration, the ability to measure individual and exact rates without inaccuracies, and to provide automated invoice verification without manual work. If you'd like to learn more about Northbound, you can check them out at www.getnorthbound.ai. So that's it for this week's Future of Automotive segment. If you're an auto tech entrepreneur working on a solution that helps car dealerships, we want to hear from you. We are actively investing out of our dealer fund. If you're interested in joining our investment club to make direct investments into auto tech and mobility startups, please join. There's no obligation to start seeing our deal flow, and we continue to have attractive investment deals available to our members. Don't forget to check out my book, The Future of Automotive Retail, which is available on Amazon.com, and keep an eye out for my new book, The Future of Mobility, which is almost through editing and will be out soon. Thanks as always for your ongoing support and for tuning into CBT News for this week's Future of Automotive segment, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching The Future of Automotive with Steve Greenfield.